guys. Weekly travel updates. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you're not having the storm that we have just had and that is going through central North Carolina. They were talking about tornadoes. Scared me. I said hurricanes. I just read about hurricanes. We have nothing showing up for the next 48 hours all the way back to Africa. I thought that's pretty interesting. Well, welcome to August. My goodness, summer is flying away. We hadn't even made it to the beach yet. Of course, we've had a pretty active summer. A lot of health and sickness and stuff going on. So anyway, tonight I want you to sign a petition. Now, I have lost weight this year. I'm pretty proud of it. But the average American will not sit in a 28 inches. That is the pitch. And it's been in place for 30 years. It is so outdated. Now, it was based on a 35-year-old traveler. And now, 42% of our travelers are over 45. 47.9% of travelers are over 55. And 16% of travelers are over 65. So it's been around for years, trying to bring it to the attention of Congress to try to get something started to get seats that have a standard, just a standard that is wider than 28 inches. I was pretty proud, even before I lost this weight. My last flight was the first time in a long time that I was comfortable in a regular seatbelt. Do you know that if you're not comfortable in a regular seatbelt, you can ask for an extension and they will get you one? And it's really long, or if you just need 2 inches, it will give you 2 extra inches. You should be comfortable. There's a group out there called Flyers' Rights. And I laugh when I say it now, but there are a lot of people who literally write in and how miserable they were on a flight because they couldn't breathe or they couldn't move or they were so constricted with the seatbelt. Anyway, let's jump to something else. All right. Do you know, I mentioned it a few weeks ago, several cruise lines, but Carnival started it, brought on drug sniffing dogs. And I've told you about a few instances where people have brought drugs back on a ship. Well, this is a story about 2 sisters. And so as not to really, throw them off, they made a call over the intercom and asked for these 2 sisters to report to the main desk. And once they got there, they sent the drug dog to their cabin and quickly found a lot of cocaine. They wanted to go about it in the right way, I guess. So what they did is they let the sisters disembark the cocaine by chance was just sewn into the backpack. And so as they start to get off the ship, they asked the sisters, did you pack your belongings? Yes. Oh, and they interviewed them separately. That's important in a minute. But they asked them, Did you pack your bags? Yes, I did. And so when they go about the story and get a baseline of each sister, they tell them that they are fully aware that they're carrying drugs. And one of the sisters backtracks and says, oh, well, I was in the shower for a really long time and my sister had access to my bag. And the other sister said, well, we met friends in Jamaica and this backpack was a gift and we had no idea what we were carrying. Anyway, long story short, they're busted, and it is about the 6th or 7th time that dogs on cruise ships finding drugs and busting people. Just FYI, and to know you can't get by with it. Now, I will tell you something that I heard today that you could get by. I thought it was pretty funny and ingenious. One of the ways that people are getting other than soda onto a cruise ship is they open the 12-pack of soda and they take out soda from the middle and replace it with something else, like White Claw was the example I saw. And then they fill up the rest of the carton with soda and they hot glued the ends back. And supposedly they got through. Now, I'm not saying it's right. It is funny. If you have a cruise hack, share it below. I'm really interested to see what we come up with. All right, let me get back to the stories because I get easily sidetracked. All right, I hated to hear that Venice is being listed as an emergency. UNESCO sites get a lot of benefits. They get a lot of support. Venice is one of my favorite Italian ports. Now, I've been cruising in and out of there for 25 years. And, one of my favorite trips was when we were cruising out of Venice and just to cruise down the Grand Canal. And the people are on the balconies waving, and I don't know if they're still waving these days, but back then they were waving. They were very polite. Ciao, salute. Anyway, it is in serious danger. So I'm really going to follow the story and I will keep you updated. But, they've been saying that with the rise in sea levels that it is sinking and the whole island is an island. The whole island is an island right off of the mainland. They call that the Lido. You take a water taxi over to Venice and you literally can cruise all the way around. So it is a sad day. I will let you know. Think about the people who live there. 10th generation families. That just is heartbreaking to me. Okay. I want to tell you about the State Department and what it has said about the Yucatan in Mexico. They said, proceed with or exercise normal caution in procedures. I have been hesitant, I'll tell you, but we had a graduation group who went to the Miami Riviera area. So I wouldn't stay in Cancun, nor did I suggest it when we did this 9 months ago, because it's had problems for years. However, this family, multi-generations from like age 9 or 10 to 80s, and all ages in between, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends with friends, friends who didn't have friends. She said everybody loved it. Everybody. And do you know how hard it is to please a large family? But everybody's rooms had ample space. It is a property that it's the last property Mom and Trey and I stayed at right before the pandemic. So I had firsthand knowledge. I try to use that so that I could really explain to people what it's going to be like. And knowing up front really gave her a peace of mind. And then getting there and it being what she expected and more was just a true treasure. It makes me love what I do. Don't talk to me on a day that we have flight cancellations or, cruise rates increase or taxes increase. Then it's sometimes I don't love my job as much. All right. I am not crazy about the next piece of news. COVID is running or popping up in many areas. It is several European cities are showing an outbreak, not to be unexpected, but China's showing again. And, at the drop of a hat, they will shut everything down. So they have no problem in doing that. And in recent weeks have really changed things. So still would not be a place that I would go, but it's out there. And there have been a couple of ships. I mean, nice ships. Princess Cruise Line had an outbreak this week. Oh no, my battery's running low. Okay. I was afraid I was going to have to sing you a song as I went to get the plug. But you're in luck. I don't have to sing. Okay. Several cruise reps, nomad travelers that I watch, all of them are saying, oh yeah, it's out there. It's out there. We're not getting hundreds of people like, not too long ago I told you about. There were more than 100 people that were sick, but that was norovirus. That's the age-old, somebody came in sick, coughed without covering their mouth and spread it to all these people who then spread it to all these other people. Anyway, but for real, COVID, tested COVID. I'm not vaccinated. I plan on going on 2 cruises this year. I am a little more careful when I have Mom and we're out even in public because we're not stupid. We have the common flu season that's going to come. Then we have COVID and whatever variations they want to call the strands. But there's just in Florida, there's leprosy. They're not shutting down Florida. Although there were some CDC jokes this week that said that Florida is shutting down due to leprosy. Untrue. But there are some confirmed cases. So just be aware, just be careful. Our group, one of the things that I give them, hand sanitizer, wipes. We will wipe down everything that we're going to touch on that flight to Alaska. We will use hand sanitizer way more than we normally would. Why? Because we have 10 days. We don't want any of us to feel bad. We want everybody to have a good time. I was on a YouTube or a Zoom webinar this morning, and the guy who does, John, the guy who does the Haw River rafting, he was on, and he has an outfitter in Alaska. And I told him when we were going, and he said, oh, yeah, it's going to be cold. And I said, we're going to see the Northern Lights. And he said, oh, yeah, you'll see them. So I am so excited. I'm so excited to get it from an authority. So yay. All right. Next. Frontier is dropping some bag rules. All right. I I was going to list a couple of low budget carriers. Spirit is getting ready to really be a new conglomerate with JetBlue. I think that they'll pull it off. Allegiant bringing fares down to $37. Now it's for a short time. It's from the 4th of September to like the 20th or 21st of September. Good from Concord, Charlotte to Orlando, Sanford. I say that because it's not really Charlotte. It's the Concord Airport, and it's not really Orlando. It's the Sanford Airport. About 45 minutes from Orlando and about half an hour from Concord Airport's about half an hour from the Charlotte Airport. So if you like to travel that way, they're $37 each way. But one of the reasons I don't like Allegiant or many of the other budget carriers are for the added fees. So your passenger user fee is an additional $14.99 each way. Now your $37 fare just became $67 thereabouts. Then you have to pay for baggage. And if you're going to carry a carry-on, well, you can bring one personal item, but a personal item is not a rollerboard. So you have to be prepared. When you add up all these extra fees, it's not a very good deal, or not generally. Now, if you had a whole slew of you going at the same time and these dates worked out for you right before Labor Day and before the end of September, call me. We will see if it's the best deal. Not sure it is. Okay, next. I told you that there's no hurricanes coming. I was really impressed because it's been the first week that there were not some threats out there, and there's not. Speaking of threats, it seemed like it was threatening in downtown Vancouver this weekend because it was BC days, British Columbia days. And I would think of it like being in Cheyenne for Frontier Days or in Yellowstone for a big rodeo or something, just hordes of people because it is a national 4-day holiday weekend. Then you add 50,000 cruise travelers to this weekend. And wow, it was packed. Now, there are lots of events going on, as there is all summer long in Vancouver. You just about can't pick a weekend from June until the 1st of September that there's not something going on in downtown Vancouver. From fireworks shows, festivals, parades, you name it. It's every weekend. But this weekend was particularly crowded. Let me know if you were part of that crowd this weekend. All right, next is a flood in Juneau. So just a few weeks ago, I was watching this ice bridge that was over a glacier. A glacier is a block of ice and it melts and it causes a running river. That running river very frequently causes an ice bridge. The running river is going through or underneath the ice, and at some point it makes a bridge. There are several expedition cruises that go to these ice bridges, and they anticipate when it's going to break, when it actually breaks. Well, one large ice bridge broke, and it put 50,000 gallons within minutes dumped into Mendenhall Lake, like where the Mendenhall Glacier is. We're going there in September. We still have a little bit of room. Mendenhall Lake increased 16 feet, the highest crest of this river in more than a decade. That's not true. It was 2016. So that's not more than a decade. Anyway, in a very long time, but it was 2016, and it went up 15 feet. it's not catastrophic, but I'm glad we have more than a month before we're going to be traveling, because hopefully the water will have receded by then. Not sure what it's going to do to the habitat areas that we get to walk over, because 16 feet, even if it's 10 feet, that water is going to be over the wooden walkways that we can walk over to see bears. And for sure, I want that 10-foot drop between me and the ground, because I want room for those bears to have room to roam underneath me. I want the whole 10 feet. Okay, on to something else. I had a call this week, and I looked up what were some ways to get extra credits on a cruise. And I found something interesting. And I'm not going to wait till a national holiday like Veterans Day or Memorial Day. I'm going to share with you right now. Do you know that if you're a veteran or an active military personnel, then you get extra onboard credits with several cruise lines? Like if they're giving me, a non-veteran person, $50, they may be giving you $75, or they may be giving you $100. Depends on what kind of cabin you have. I just thought that was fantastic. And another way was, to take the cruise line's credit cards. You know, every cruise line has credit cards. And let's say you spend $2,000. I'm not sure it's worth it, because it's only worth $200 of onboard credit. But it might be worth it, because if you're going on a cruise and you're going to be buying groceries every week, $2,000 wouldn't take too long to add up to $2,000, which would give you $200 shipboard credit. Princess has it. Royal Caribbean has it. Carnival has it. Holland American has it for sure. Virgin Voyages has it. And if you're interested in one that I didn't mention, reach out to me and I'll make sure they have it. Or I'll tell you if they don't. All right. Man, I'm talking a long time tonight. There are some special things, cruise news-wise, that I just have to bring you up to speed on. This week, the new NCL Viva, actually it was yesterday, set sail. And she is the second of 4 new ships in the Prima class that NCL is offering. And we're going to NCL to Hawaii in October. Let me know if you want to go. She is going to only have 3,100 passengers. Now for NCL, that seems to be the sweet spot, because all 4 new ships, which will, with this ship, that is their 19th ship in the fleet. So this ship, the Prima, which has already come out, and 2 more ships are going to be this size. Listen to this. 965 feet long, 143,500 tons, that has a capacity of 3,100 travelers. I think that's a great size ship. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed the mega ships, but for instance, Alaska. When we pull right next to the sidewalk in Ketchikan, I mean, literally, it is like the city of Ketchikan's here, and you walk up a few steps and there's a sidewalk. There's a curb and a 2-lane road, and a curb and a sidewalk. 3 little steps down, walk about 15 feet, and you walk right onto the ship. I mean, balcony cabins facing the city are literally looking over the sidewalk, because I've had one of those cabins before. Mom and I are going to have a balcony this year too. And I think that we're on the port side. At this moment, I can't remember. But it is going to be an awesome trip. And if you don't have plans for September, we think we're going to see aurora lights for days. All right. Do you know that the ship that goes out of Charleston, it's the Sunshine. The Sunshine, hold on a second. Oh, darn, I was going to have this video for you and I did. The Sunshine had pier runners. And I wanted to show you this cute video, but it took 1 minute and 48 seconds from where the taxi let them off. And it looked like they went maybe 100 feet. And the pier made an extreme right. And there was one pier attendant there. And they were showing their cards as they were running towards him. And he was motioning them, come on. He ran with them, I guess, to talk to them or to yell at them for just a short distance, maybe 20 yards. And they kept running. They ran for more than 50 seconds. And this was 4 guys. They had t-shirts and shorts on, a couple pairs of sandals, and one guy had tennis shoes on. But no passports. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I can't imagine them having passports in their back pocket. No bags. Probably sat around and had one too many shots. I'm sorry, that was very judgmental. Forgive me for saying that. But anyway, they missed the ship, or about to miss the ship. They run and run and run and run. You guys, 50 seconds of 4 guys running. That all I was thinking was, man, in Bimini, I will have to make sure that I let people know if it was a 50-second run, and these guys they weren't sprinting, but they were running. You could hear people calling out on the ship, making fun and saying run. And anyway, I would bet that it is a 5 to 8 minute walk from where you're going to get off the ship. And the pier in Bimini in the Bahamas was not as wide as what we see in other Bahamian ports. They were running 4 wide. The maximum you could have comfortably run would have been 6 wide, max. So it's not as wide as we see in other places, but it went on forever. Now, Bimini, I can believe that because I imagine they have to take way out in the water so that you don't have to have ships to tender. Because the white sand beaches there in Bimini are just phenomenal. There's a group of local friends, and Bimini has been their place to go for years. Isn't that right, Baxter? All right. Let's see. Oh, let me tell you one more thing. Next year, we are going to do a cruise to the Holy Land. And I was so tickled when I read this story today. There is a new pier that's going to be built in Haifa. Well, Haifa is the port in southern Israel. Let's say that this is the back of my hands, Israel. So here is Haifa in the south of Israel. And up here is the Dead Sea. Well, we're going to port in Haifa, and Tel Aviv is just within 40 minutes of the pier. And then the Holy Land, the main part of the city, is about an hour and 20 minutes. So we've decided that we're doing this next year. And if you have interest, I would love to know that. It's going to be a select travel group. As far as I can tell, it will be Celebrity Cruise Lines because they have an all-in program. And the only things in addition will be a group air option that we'll be able to tell you about when we get back from Hawaii, and what our private excursions will be like, because definitely we'll have private excursions there. The company that we use, and what made me so comfortable to say, oh, yeah, we'll plan it for next year, is they have more than 17 buses at any given time on the ground throughout Israel, mainly southern Israel. And if there's something going on the Israeli side or the Palestinian side, they know. And they would simply call out to group leaders and say, it is time. There's a problem here. It's time to leave. It's time to get back on this side of the bank, or whatever the case might be. It's time for us to get out of Tel Aviv, yada, 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 whatever the case may be. Excuse me, I don't need to answer that. But it will be exciting to have a brand new pier. Now, the stores that will be right at the pier will be very expensive because they're paying for a new pier, and rent will be really high. But it will be nice to have brand new facilities. I'm going to tell you one more. I'm going to tell you two more cruise stories. Another person fell off of a cruise ship this week. Fell off. Sitting on a railing. Family was in disbelief until they saw the footage. It's sad. It's terribly sad. It breaks your heart. But it happens. And the other sad story was a traveler in Cozumel. It's a very popular cruise port. And, I'm not sure this was a cruise. She could have been there just on vacation. I've been there just on vacation before. And I did exactly what she did. I rented a Jeep. Now, I was with a friend, so it was no problem. We never experienced an issue. But this traveler rented the Jeep and went into the jungle and got stuck, and was stuck for more than 6 hours before they were found. It was just two people. So can you imagine being in a jungle that you know nothing about, and your travel agent told you about these big yellow and white, what are they called? It's the snakes that don't bite you, anaconda. I'm not kidding. The very first trip that I took to Cozumel, a kid came out of the bush, out of the jungle, and he had one over his shoulders, and it draped to the ground and over his arms, and it draped to the ground. That thing was about 12 feet long. And I said, where did you get that? And he said, they're in the jungle. He said, I came to warn you that if you're riding those scooters, be real careful if you see something yellow and white in the road, because when you run into a snake, you will just go over the handlebars. So we were just a bit more careful. I don't think I went over 45 down that straight, what I thought was straight and familiar road, any of the rest of the 3 days we were there. Anyway, this person was stuck 8 hours. Everything turned out to be all right. The only thing, they had a lot of mosquito bites. But if you do this, evidently she just wasn't prepared. There is cell phone service in Cozumel, and you have to let them know you're going to be in Cozumel, Mexico. They have to physically turn on your phone or flip a switch so that you have access. But I just can't imagine being in a thick jungle for 6 hours. The Jeep was just spinning in mud. So surely you wouldn't get out and try to walk in that. I wouldn't get out and walk in that. Anyway, if what I've shared tonight was fun or amusing, please like this and please share it if you have friends that you think might benefit from it. And please go like our YouTube channel called Weekly Travel Updates on YouTube. I'm just trying to grow it and see where it goes. I really appreciate it. Let me know how we can help you. It is Melinda, Whitney, Rochelle. Well, we could reel in a few more if we need to. We're here to serve you. real service. You can meet me face to face Fridays and Saturdays in downtown Mebane at 121A West Clay Street, right next to the new crafted taco restaurant. Come see us. And remember, without a travel agent, you're on your own. Ciao.